These are top 10, the craziest creepy encounters told on the Joe Rogan podcast. Episode number 1597. Travis Walton woke on a UFO among small beings, panicked, but later thought they meant no harm.
So, what do you remember from that moment on?
When I regained consciousness, it wasn't real quick. It wasn't real woken right up. It was real slow. It was dim. My consciousness was kind of like in and out for a while. I didn't know where I was. The pain and the feeling that I was mortally wounded, something was so wrong inside. I felt like I was dying. And this is what really fueled the panic when I finally laid eyes on these creatures. Of course, all of the mental programming that we get from Hollywood that aliens are invading monsters, didn't help. But I instantly associated this feeling of dying with pain with them. So I was combative immediately.
Where were you?
I was lying on my back on a raised table. There was a light above me. It was not real bright. It was not so bright that I couldn't, see the outline of the fixture. But
what did the fixture look like?
Kind of like that, only much larger. Just a soft glow. And in the movie, there's a little bit of striking on the part of the aliens against me. That didn't happen. I lashed out at them. The one closest to me, I felt really weak. I didn't have enough strength to do much. So when my arm contacted him, he just fell back very unexpectedly easy into the other one. And I rolled off the table in the other direction. And they came around the table, and the three of them were coming towards me. And I just grabbed something from behind me, an object off of the shelf there, and started swinging it at them.
What was the object?
It was just some large, long cylinder or rod, glass, some clear material. I wasn't studying it. I was looking at them and swinging wildly, screaming threats. They stopped. And I was planning on attacking more fully, just making way past them. The only doorway I could see was on the other side of them.
And it looked like a doorway?
Yeah, it looked like a doorway, just,
And what did they look like?
I guess it's a pretty typical description nowadays. Very large eyes, hairless, two eyes, nose, mouth. I didn't see them speak or no change in the expressions. And to me, that in the face of all the screaming and the fear that I was projecting, their lack of reaction probably just added to my panic. But
did they feel like they were a living creature, or did they feel like they were a robot?
Well, they were without expression, I'll say that. But, I've had 45 years to think about that. In more recent years, I think, well, maybe if they're telepathic and it's developed enough to where they don't need to talk, they also don't need facial expression.
Right.
And so their ability to communicate with each other would be much richer and more complete than we have. And speech and frowns or smiles or whatever would become obsolete pretty quick.
Yeah. Well, that is a theory about where human beings are headed. If we continue to evolve, that we will one day reach this point where the biological limitations of our monkey bodies will slowly start to fade away, and we'll have different abilities to
Well,
communicate.
why would we need to frown or smile if you can save much more?
And also, their musculature, did they look like smooth, like they had no clear muscles?
Yeah, they were pretty smooth, very light. When I hit the one, it fell back into the other one pretty easily, like he weighed hardly anything.
Like a little kid?
Yeah. That was the most terrifying experience of my life. But when I tell this story and try to relate to people, I'm trying to communicate what I experienced and how utterly, utterly traumatic that was, and how it was so devastating. I was, on the verge of catatonic for weeks after it happened. But I don't want to relate this story in order to inspire fear, because I've had enough time to think about it that I think that it was unwarranted, that my reaction was just due to my ignorance of the situation. The fact that I was returned at all is pretty significant,
Yeah.
The idea that these beings are just kidnapping people willy-nilly and doing terrible things to them, I don't subscribe to that theory. Now, I try to separate what I actually experienced from things that I've concluded just from thinking about it. But it seems to me that, they've been seen, observed, there have been sightings for all, before I was born.
Had you heard of the Betty and Barney Hill story before you were abducted?
I probably had. But I thought if they had some sort of sinister intentions, it'd be a done deal. They wouldn't be sneaking around, hiding, and
Right.
I believe with that level of technology. Look at it this way: human beings, just virtually everything technological that we have is just a few hundred years old. Before that, the most technological thing we had was fire, and in just the last 50 years, the progress of our science has grown to far overshadow everything we had accomplished in thousands of years before that. So I'm thinking what astronomers tell us about these other star systems is that they could be hundreds of thousands, millions, or maybe billions of years older than us. So if we accomplished the kind of technology that we have in a few decades, what is possible with millions of years of development? We couldn't begin to recognize what they're capable of.
Right.
So I think it's presumptuous for people to say, oh, they could never do that.
It really is an interesting conundrum, because we know what we can do and we know where we came from. We have a very clear history of technology when it comes to humans. And we also know that there are planets surrounding stars all throughout our galaxy and all throughout the universe. But we're still skeptical. It's so funny. And
Yeah,
so
it is.
But for a guy like you who's actually encountered it, even though you saw it, it had to not seem real.
Oh, yeah, you're questioning your sanity for sure. It was like I was practically catatonic for days afterwards.
Episode number 1518. David Cho recalls a scary hitchhiking encounter in Louisiana and narrowly escaping a stranger's intentions.
Like, you might find this hard to believe, but I never talked growing up. I was the kid in the corner, and like girls would form groups and talk about which guy they want to fuck, and I wouldn't even be. They're like, Dave's sitting right there, and they're like, yeah, he's not even on the fucking roster. And I'm like, so I go, wait, is this racist? Yeah, but what has it? How can I turn this around? What it did for me. The Asian superpower is, if you're not seen and you're not heard and we're seen as non-threatening, I can go anywhere. I can go anywhere and people open up to me. I've been to the Congo. I've been to third world countries. I've been to every fucking state in America. I might be the most American person. Like, I've been to every fucking state. I've hitchhiked from the time I was 15 to every fucking state, every country, and I've talked, and because, would a black guy be able to do that? Would a white guy be able to do that? When people see, oh, that guy's Chinese, he's like Jackie Chan, or he's whatever they think, they don't think that I'm going to do anything or say anything or I'm going to, pose any threat. So they just open up and they say the most, I don't know, like when I started hitchhiking, people said, no one's going to pick you up, right? Like 60s, 70s, everyone hitchhiked. And then something weird happened in the 80s where like, you're going to get raped, kidnapped, murdered, But I go, I don't think so. I think if I put my thumb out and ask for help, someone's going to give it to me. And with that, I got to see the world for free. I got to go everywhere. And much like what happened was I would sit shotgun and I'm getting these free rides, and two things would happen. Either the driver has a long drive and they want someone to talk to, or they want me to talk to them. And something would happen, and like I'm in the car right now with a complete stranger. Anything could happen. And the first hour is always small talk. How long you been on the road? What you do? It's all that kind of stuff. Something switches when they know the ride's I'm about to get out or whatever. I'm never going to see this guy again. So now we've been talking about news, sports, and weather for an hour. Last 10 minutes, I fucked my sister when I was 12.
Whoa.
Everything comes out. So I've heard, think about how many rides I've hitchhiked.
How old was he? He was 12. How old was his sister?
I don't know. It was 8. I mean, everything. Drugs, incest. I killed somebody. Like murder.
A guy told
murder
you?
confessions.
Really?
I've heard the most insane.
Hold one at a time. Murder confession.
I don't know if I should retell it here.
You definitely should be.
A guy confessed to me that he was thinking of raping me when I stayed at his house.
Oh, Jesus. You stayed at his house? You didn't just hitchhike, you hitch-housed?
I was in the deep south. It was like I was trying to hitchhike from LA to New York City. I was with my friend Brian. Same thing. No one's going to pick up two fucking dudes. And John Wayne picks us up, cowboy guy. 10-gallon hat, Damn, you boys look, hot out there. Get in the car. And he's telling us about shrimp po' boys, and he works on a offshore oil rig, and it's 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, and it's just 2 weeks off right now. So he's like, "Where are you guys headed?" And we're like, "We're just trying to get to New York." New York? What you want to go there for? A bunch of queers out there. I don't know. We want to check it out. You guys want to stay at my house tonight? Like, this guy looks like grandpa. Just cowboy boots, cowboy hat, just big gut. Like, he's a dude.
Right.
Yeah, I'm young. I'm 17 or 18 at this time. We get to his house in this is what I'm talking about. It's a tiny town in Louisiana. Deep South.
Okay.
Like, we get in his house, Die Hard movie collection, Rambo movie collection, shotguns, and
lube.
Just the dude, just the man's man. And he has and his part-time job is an anesthesiologist. That
part-time anesthesiologist.
Part-time and then part-time offshore oil rig. And I'm, this is summertime, deep south, covered with like grease and mosquitoes, living outside on the road, hitchhiking. He's like, "You guys want to take a shower?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah." I'm the first one in the shower. And then I come out, I got the towel wrapped on. He's like, he made us like a frozen pizza or something. And there's a protest on the television. It's San Fran. This is 1993 or 94. There's a protest of something with gay people in San Francisco, and they were protesting. And he's watching it. He's like, I'm like, "What?" He's like, "I'm queer. You never see me out there protesting." And I'm like, "Oh shit!" And then my friend Brian, who's covered in grease and dirt, he hasn't showered yet. And I'm like, "Oh shit!" And I started getting my clothes on. And it's one thing to be gay, and then it's one thing to be picked up by like a
big gay guy with a cowboy hat who takes you to his house. So and here's the thing: I don't want to discourage people from hitchhiking. This is one
weird incident that's happened in like 15 years of hitchhiking. So he's like, hey, Brian, it's your turn. Why don't you take a shower? No, I'm okay. I'm all right. You're filthy. Why don't you get in there, take a shower? He's like, no, I'm all right. I'm okay. And I go, oh, fuck. What do we do? You know, I do a little powwow in the corner. He's like, he's old. We can take him if he tries anything. We're tired. We were fucking so tired. We're like, he looks like he was like falling asleep on his couch. And he goes, he's going to go to sleep soon. Let's just fucking stay the night. It's fucking air conditioned in here. And then let's leave first thing in the morning before he wakes up. Like, okay, fuck it. Let's just do it. All right, boys, I'm going to turn in. I'm like, yes. So we take the couch and I go, let's sleep in a formation and let's take turns. We should have just left. You go, you stay up for an hour and then wake me up. I'll stay up for an hour. And then we'll leave crack of dawn, you know. I had a pocket knife. So I slept like this. I took the knife and I put the thing like this and I slept like that. And I stayed up for the first hour and I see him walking around his room. The lights are on. And I'm like, this guy's not going to sleep. Midnight, 1 a.m. I'm like, what the fuck? Why won't this guy go to sleep?
Putting his masks on.
So I nudge Brian. I go, hey, it's your turn. I'm going to fucking pass out. He's out cold. I'm like, fuck, dude. Fuck, man. I'm too tired. And I go, okay, I'm just going to stay up the whole night. So I'm up. I'm like, guys are closing, bringing back up again, gripping the knife. And then sometime around 5:30 in the morning or something, my eyes are closed, but you know when you feel someone?
Mm-hmm.
So he comes out of his room and he's standing there and I could see, and then I go, oh shit. And then I grip the knife and I go, this is it. It's going to happen right now. And he just leaves. He goes out the door and I go, oh fuck. Like, and then I wake up Brian. I go, Brian, let's get the fuck out of here. He's like, what's going on? He's like, dude, he just left. He's like, okay, I'm going to take a shower then. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, if he went to the store or something, like, he's not going to
get some duct
Yeah,
tape.
he's not going to be back for, I'll jump in and jump. I go, dude, let's just go right now. Like, I don't know if he was jerking off or what. Like, I had my eyes closed, but he was standing right there. And he's like, I'll be quick. So he runs in, takes a fast shower. We get our clothes on. And like, just as we're walking out, he's like, hey, he like pulls in. You guys leaving without saying bye? I just went to the market to get some eggs for breakfast. And I'm like, oh, fuck, dude. So I'm like, I have the knife in my hand the whole time. I go, like, it's that thing where I'm a people pleaser. You know, like, I'll even put my own life at risk to, like, this guy went to the store and got eggs for me, you know? Like, yeah, sure, we'll have some eggs. So we go in, and the guy starts talking about his wife and how he works on this offshore oil rig with like a younger dude. It's just two guys running this whole oil rig. And the other guy just talks about how much he hates gay people the whole time, not knowing that this guy is.
Wow.
And then he just like all the other times I've been picked up, he starts opening up about how he was married, he has a bunch of children, and then he figured out he was gay. And then he's just like, I could see it. He knows we're on our way out. He's never going to see us. Let's just fucking let it on. You boys look so cute on the side of the road there last night. And it's like, I was so like, I'm so lonely. I don't get to, you know, you don't know what it's like to be a queer guy in the deep South. And man, when I came out this morning and I saw you guys sleeping together, you guys on the couch, you look so beautiful and perfect. And I'm like, oh my fucking God, dude. And then he says, I thought about just, you know, if you guys wouldn't mind if I just touched you a little bit. And I'm like, what the fuck? And, you know, we've once again, I froze. I'm like, oh yeah, cool. Yeah, so and so I said, yeah, we're gonna leave now. So we just fucking booked it. And then all of his neighbors were black. Like, he lived like in a black neighborhood, and like the houses are on stilts because of the swampland and whatever. And I don't know if he's done this before, but as we ran out, like, I heard like the kids laughing, and they're like, "Oh, Tom, they're trying to do it again," and I'm like, "Oh fuck, like this isn't the first time." Like,
oh, of course.
And look, man,
drives
this
around
is
looking for hitchhikers.
I've hitchhiked all over the world.
And that was the only time.
Right. And
Yeah.
and so I highly recommend it. But yeah, what I was saying about being invisible is a lot of times people will do this or say, "Kate, go back to where you come from," because they're like, this fucker's not going to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just not the way the world works. You know, like someone was explaining to me the other day that no one ever wins a war. I go, what are you talking about? We come in, we blow shit up, and then we take the... It's like, if you look at Germany and Japan, right? It's two countries that are very small. You look at a globe and you look at how small they are. These are two countries that are very tiny, that have tried to dominate every country around them. And Japan has Germany starts every world war, right? And so you're like, oh, but we won those wars. But we drive their cars now. We drive Lexus. They won in the end. And then you think of the soldiers that come home, the PTSD, the drug addiction, the homelessness. It's like, look at our country now. It's like, did we win? Like you won, like on the charts. You look at the numbers. We took this town. We did this. We did that. And when you fuck with people, when you hurt someone, it stays with them forever. Like it stays with them for a long time. Unless you have tools and different things to like work through those things, which I've been working on a lot. But yeah, being, oh fuck, that's sort of racist that no one really thinks of me as a threat. How can I turn that into an advantage? I'm going to travel the entire world.
Episode 1957. Shane Gillis recalls escaping 2 molestation attempts and reflects on how such creepy guys were ignored in his youth.
I dodged 2 molestation attempts.
Really?
Yeah, 2.
What'd you dodge?
Well, I dodged one of them when I probably was like 7 or 8 years old. That was the scary. Well, they were both pretty scary, but that was the scarier one because I was at the library. And I was by myself. You know, I was a latchkey kid. My parents just let me out of the house, which, you know, at the time was kind of normal. In retrospect, like thinking about it now, like I couldn't imagine letting my 7-year-old just
public
fucking
library.
wander around. Not just that, but walk to the public library. You know, in San Francisco. And this guy, I was looking at, I was always into like horror movies and monster movies and shit.
Yeah.
And so I was reading these books they had a section of like, monster books.
Yeah.
And this guy came up to me and he goes, do you like monster books? I go, yeah. And he goes, oh, I have some monster books in my car. You want to see them? I'm
No.
like, okay. Like, I didn't know any better. I was fucking 8 years old or whatever it was. And as I'm leaving with this guy, the librarian starts screaming, Joseph, you get away from that man. That man just got out of jail. And she yells at him to get out of there, and the guy runs away, and I just started crying, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
So I dodged that bullet. And then another time when I was 13. When I was 13, we were hanging around this lake in Jamaica Plain. It was... Jamaica Pond was this place we would go and fish. And there was another pond that was like this neighboring pond that was like slightly smaller. And this guy was always like running around the lake. He was jogging. And me and my friend Josh would be hanging out. And this guy would come over and talk to us. You know, he seemed like a super normal guy. He used to be a teacher and he had retired. And, he probably was like in his 60s. And one day, it's just me.
He went for it.
One day, it's just me. And I'm fishing, and he comes by, and he's drunk.
Damn.
And he tells me he loves me. And I'm like super confused.
How old were you?
13.
Okay.
And I had been talking to this guy on and off. I had seen him, for months.
Yeah.
Like, he'd come by, say hi. It was always, like, casual, very good-humored, very friendly, but he was like setting us up. And he comes by, and then I realize after, he tells me he loves me, but there can be no love without sex. That's what he says. And I'm like, what? And I had a knife. So I remember I grabbed my knife in my pocket, and I had my hand on my knife, and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to have to stab this guy.
Damn.
Yeah. I was like, this is going to, because there was no one around. There was no one around.
Wow.
It was just trees and
You were 13?
forest.
You were like, I'm going to have to stab.
oh, I was gonna cut this guy.
I would have trusted the guy. I would have been like, yeah, you're right.
You're smarter than me.
I'll see you later. I don't know what.
It was dangerous.
We had a guy go for us.
Yeah.
There was a guy that used to linger. Hilarious, dude. He was mentally challenged, but he would always hang out around my high school, and he would go to all the like basketball games. One day, we had like a tape recorder for the national anthem to play at the beginning of games. They would just hold a mic next to a tape recorder. It broke, so the mentally handicapped guy stood up and started singing, and the whole fucking gym was like, they started listening. Everybody just listened to the guy sing the national anthem.
Oh my God! Did he get all the words right?
I don't remember. I doubt it. I doubt it, dude. I think he was freestyling a little.
And the rockets
But no, he would try to get you. He would go to games, but he was like, again, it wasn't that long ago. It was long enough that like people were like, yeah, he's weird. That old thing where like, there's a town pedophile, but he's a weird guy.
Yeah.
So he would like be like, you guys want to play football? And we were little kids at the high school football game playing like touch football, and he was like, you guys want to come out to my car? I have Nerf balls, and we were all like, no, dude, stop trying to fuck us. Like, we knew what he was doing. He was like, all right, see you guys.
Did he get away with it with anybody?
Probably.
If you get the mentally handicapped guy tricks you into getting into his car,
Nerf balls. I got Nerf balls out.
that's
in my
how
car.
he gets you.
And we were just fully like,
Nobody
dude,
would ever like take your advice again.
No.
Like, bro,
you got raped by that fucking idiot.
that fucking guy got you.
You got raped by an idiot, dude. Yeah, but just even in like 5th, 6th grade, we were like, no, dude, stop trying to rape us.
Every neighborhood has a guy.
Yeah. I didn't even realize the other guy. We had 2 guys. The other guy was he had a tricycle with his name on a license plate, like a fake license plate on the front of his tricycle. It was a sick tricycle. But he would come around and he would speak gibberish, but every once in a while it would get kind of sexual. Like he would come over and just be like, do you like pancakes? We're like, yeah, dude, we love pancakes. And he's like, do you ever put syrup on your pancakes? We're like, yeah. He's like, you ever put syrup down your pants? You ever rub syrup all over your... Dude, stop. And then he'd just keep tricycling, dude.
Jesus Christ.
I don't know if they ever actually got anyone.
Sometimes it just doesn't work and they just keep swinging
Just keep swinging.
forever.
Fuck it, dude. They're fucking... There's always like it was always on To Catch a Predator. They would always catch like a mentally handicapped guy. And there's always a part of me like,
Yeah.
come on.
Episode 2020. Python Cowboy found a satanic site with blood-stained symbols at an abandoned rocket facility. Police investigated quietly.
Since
Not-
1965, there's only been 175 unsolved cases involving deaths and murders.
Okay.
That's just the bodies. But that's like deaths and murders.
Well,
I would
that-
imagine that would be a good place to drop off a body.
That's kind of what I was going to say. Is it's a very good place to go hide stuff. I've found vehicles that were used in crimes dumped out there. I've found dogs from dog fights that were dumped out there. I've found animals that have just been dumped. I've found very intricate and mind-blowing satanic rituals and sacrifices out there.
What?
Oh yeah. So I was,
Right.
which I found different stuff before. You know, I'll find maybe where someone was doing some voodoo, some Santeria, sacrificed a chicken, whatever. All that's like kind of normal out there. That's not that crazy. But what I found this night was
you
very
documented
crazy.
it.
Yeah, the police came and investigated it. It made the news. And that's the facility I was hunting. It's Aerojet. It's actually an abandoned space rocket facility from the Cold War, where they were developing and testing space rockets.
And what were you hunting there?
Pythons. I was out there, hunting these snakes, and this facility is you need special access. I was given special access by the state of Florida to remove pythons from out there. And nobody can just go back out there, but people do go out there, as you can see from the graffiti and different stuff like that. Usually to do stuff that they're not supposed to do. There's a lot of crimes committed out there. There have been murders out there, gang initiations, all kind of stuff.
So they have a pentagram that's...
So, yeah, it's a whole thing. So we go out there. The first thing I came across was a big rock pile with a upside down wooden cross on top. and a bunch of red spray painted upside down crosses all over. And you could tell the cross, I think, was burnt a little bit. And it wasn't, crazy, super crazy. It was like, oh, this is new. This wasn't out here a few days ago. And then I found this little doll. And as I kind of investigated that doll more, a little red scarlet snake actually came up and wrapped around her neck. And I picked up this, there it is. I picked up the scarlet snake, and which, it was kind of weird that there's a live snake, a red snake on this doll. And I've caught a lot of snakes in my life. And that is the only one that was bleeding out of its anus. There was blood coming out of its beehole. Which, I don't know why, who knows what. It was a little weird to me. And then the night just kind of gets weirder from there. You see the red lettering in the other clip. It was a big Latin saying, like 100 foot long pretty much, on the road. I drove over it. We later translated it to, turn around, run, hide, he is watching you. Go further into the complex, and there's these big abandoned buildings. I go into the building, still just python hunting. Like, who knows what these kids are doing out here. I thought it was strange, the Latin. Your average kid just messing around don't know Latin sayings like that. And then I come to this big room where there's the big pentagram. In the middle of the pentagram, there is a three-legged plastic chair with a blood stain in the bottom of it, where you could tell something was killed, sacrificed, whatever. On each wall, there's 3 walls. On each wall, there's upside-down crosses, Latin sayings, and all kinds of stuff. As I'm kind of walking into the room, which, I don't want to sound like a psycho or anything, but that doll from earlier grabbed my leg. I don't know if I kicked it, I didn't see it, or what, but that doll from the rock pile somewhere else, I don't know if it was another doll or what, I never seen that other doll. I kick it, it seemed like it grabbed me. It's that same doll from earlier. Same thing with the cross on its forehead, the one eye cocked over, the other eye messed up. And so, it's very, very weird to me. It kind of like scared me.
So
right next,
it wasn't there, and then it was there. So
I didn't notice it. I didn't notice
you
it.
didn't carry it over there.
No, I didn't touch it.
So did anybody else? Was anybody else
No.
with you?
I had 2 guys with me that didn't even want to get out of the truck when they seen the first thing. They stayed in the truck.
So the same
They
doll
didn't
that
touch
you saw
anything.
on the rock pile somehow made its way to where you were?
Yep. I don't know if it's a duplicate doll or what, but it's same.
Was there more than one of those dolls?
Only doll I seen. Only doll I seen. I'm not big on the whole supernatural thing, so I'm real doubtful of it in the first place. But to me, it was the same doll from earlier. I did not see it until it hit my foot. Right next to that doll, there is a saying on the ground that says, "The omen will follow," which to me was like the creepiest thing of the whole thing. Was like, that if you interact with any of this spirit's going to follow you. Which I'm Christian, I believe in God, and I wasn't worried. I know the good Lord has my back. But very strange, right? Very strange. As we go through, there's all kind of different stuff. In one of the rooms, there's a sleeping bag with something inside of it. I don't think it was a body, anything like that. Police went out there, investigated it. I didn't investigate further past that. Something was inside the sleeping bag, and on the walls there was, looked like red spray paint, and it said, she was only 9, we gave her to the devil, like basically talking about sacrificing a child. And then you have this little girl's gown that's nailed to the wall with like a dark red stain on it.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
And what was the investigation? Did you follow up and find out what they found out?
I never heard anything from it. I'm assuming they never found much from it because I never heard anything from it.
Did they know it was human blood that was in the chair?
I don't know.
Or on the...
I don't know. I would like to think it's red spray paint, but I don't know. I don't know.
What
For the sake of the story, who knows what it was.
Yeah.
So, we continue on with our hunt. We end up starting to get out of there. The guys are like, dude, we want to go. We don't like this shit. I'm like, all right, let's pack it up. Let's go. So we start making our way out, and I see flashlights. I mean, there's one road in, one road out. There's a gate at the end of it. You can't drive a vehicle in. And I mean, we're miles out here. You have to drive miles to then walk miles, right? So I see this flashlight bouncing on the side of the road as I'm driving out. And I'm like, who the fuck is this? No, I've never seen anyone out here in my life, ever. Getting closer to him. I have my pistol in my truck. I put my pistol on my lap, just in case. As I'm getting closer, about to kind of pass the guy's like, Mike. It's my name. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm definitely shooting this guy. Like, what the fuck, And he's like, I love your Instagram. I was like,
Episode number 1224, Adam Greentree shares encounters with grizzlies, wolves, and mountain lions, highlighting their brutal hunting methods, intelligence, and pack strategies in the wild.
Most talked about that. I got calls from all my friends. Bert Kreischer was fucking obsessed with you. he wouldn't stop calling me about it. He's like, the fucking guy's by himself. The video with him with the grizzly bear and he's pointing the gun at it. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
The fucking weirdest thing is that's normal shit. It is. That's very normal.
Yes.
But society's so removed from it now.
Well, if you're out there, it's normal to get false charged by a grizzly bear.
Yeah,
that is
you're living with nature, yeah.
It's one good reason not fucking be out there.
I was talking with Kim about this. We hiked into the back of Montana to the spot that's usually got a bunch of grizzly bears that I go to. And we're talking about you, how you won't come out to Australia hunting because you're scared of everything. The difference is, when you're walking around the mountains here, it can happen at any point because fucking grizzly bears have got feet. They walk on land. In Australia, you pretty much have to go into the water. So you're only worried about that when you go to collect water or you're thinking about having a wash or something. Here, it's full time.
For whatever reason, it doesn't bother me as much to get killed and eaten by a bear than it does a giant saltwater crocodile.
It should. I reckon the crocodile would be nicer.
What?
Yeah, it'd be nicer. It'd like grab you, drag you down. You'd drown anyway. And then it would do what it wants with you. A grizzly bear's going to fucking maul you, scratch your face off, bite your neck, take chunks out of you. It's going to be longer, dude.
Yeah, but it's American.
It's all right. We don't want no foreign shit eating us.
I ain't fucking no foreigners eating me. There's something about grizzly bears that's the most terrifying things that they just eat you. They don't kill you first. They just hold you down and start eating you.
Yeah.
They treat you the same way they treat a salmon. When you see them hold down a salmon and they take big bites out of it, they don't make sure they kill that
There's no
salmon.
nice thought behind it.
No.
It's like, I'll finish it off first and then.
No.
Yeah. Did you see the mountain lion that I ended up hunting when I was out here?
I did, yeah.
And like mountain lions usually kill their prey, but it obviously grabbed the calf and it was eating this calf while it was still alive, like a beef cow calf.
Yeah, I saw the video of that.
Yeah, pretty disturbing. Ugh. And then I seen one not long ago, someone shared with me with a mountain lion dragging a mule deer down. And it's like chomping on this mule deer before it actually dies, and it's like there's just not that thought process there's not that human,
No, as long as they make sure that they have it as a meal and it's not going anywhere, they'll just start eating.
It's done, yeah.
Yeah, wolves do the same thing. Some friends were elk hunting and they came across this elk who these wolves had torn the back legs apart and it was in the river and the wolves were eating it while it was in the river and the thing was moaning and screaming. It couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Bull elk.
Yeah.
In the water. And they just
pretty horrible for us, but nature don't give a fuck.
Standard for them. I mean, it's, have you encountered any wolves when you're out there?
Yeah, plenty of times. Yeah, the first time I went to Canada was Northwest Territories, and there was a pack of wolves that they were chasing a caribou bull, and they pretty much chased this thing to like a lather of sweat. This is in winter, so the caribou bull got really hot. And they chased it into the freezing cold river and they sort of surrounded it in the river and then they just left it and they walked off, and it wasn't that they were walking away from their kill. They knew the job was done. The wolves went back up high and they got onto these rocky benches and sat in the sun and were like drying out themselves and cooling down and drying out. And this caribou never left the river. It was like just quivering in the river. And then that afternoon when we come back, that caribou was just a carcass with like flesh hanging off the ribs on the side of the river. So they come back down once the river had done its job and ate them.
Wow.
Smart as hell, eh?
That's really crazy that they're that intelligent that they know it's over. They're like, oh, okay, he's in the water. He's
Yeah.
in the water.
We can chill
let's
now.
go dry off.
Yeah, yeah.
That is bananas.
Yeah, crazy, eh?
They're so wise. People that I know that have seen them in the forest say they look at you a different way.
Yeah.
That they look at you. There's a way they look through you. They look at you in a way like, almost like, they think that that's the reason why the myth of the werewolf exists. Is that people that have these terrifying encounters with wolves, they swear that it's part human.
Yeah,
'Cause
like
you make
peers and into you.
Yeah, they're looking into you. They're figuring you out, you know? And you got to think what it would be like if you're just out there, you know, if you're lucky, live 5 years old, right? You get this hard scrabble life out there chasing much larger animals than you, and you got to kill them with your face.
Yeah. Make it happen or die. Yeah, crazy. I had a pack of like 30 wolves this last trip that I was in BC, and they kept coming around camp. We had horses and that in camp, and one day I ventured out to try and get onto them and get a better look at them, and they just, without seeing me, they just kept this perfect range. You know, like they'd howl back to me. I was trying to call them in. I was howling. They'd howl back to me, and they'd just keep this perfect range. And you could tell the whole time they were communicating, because there'd be another wolf or a couple of wolves that were like a couple of miles in the other direction, and you could hear them moving the same pattern that the rest of these wolves were. And I got eyes on them from a distance. They walked across a nice lake, and other than that, I never really seen them, but I guarantee you those wolves looked at me a bunch of times. Like, they're just a different hunter, dude.
Yeah, they're probably just trying to figure out what they can do with you.
Yeah, such an eerie feeling too. So it's like snow, and it's like way in the backcountry of British Columbia. And like I'm going up on these mountains, it's like big pine trees and everything like that, and just every direction around you howling, dude. You'd hear them howling, you'd hear them do, it sounds like a bark, it's not, it's like this short howl. And then every now and then you'd hear one howl different, and you could tell that that was the alpha. There's the sound that it was letting out, dude, was like eerie. You know? Awesome place to be. If you're in the nature, like crazy place to be. If you're not into nature, fucking your nightmare. Like, yeah.
Episode number 2358. Ex-SEAL Chad Wright recalls a haunted barracks in Germany that led him to faith after a prayer ended the evil presence.
So I get back.
Episode number 2213. Diane Boyd recalls a terrifying night alone when two drunk men approached, showing humans can be 1738. Ben O'Brien survives a close encounter with a deadly grizzly while elk hunting in Montana.
I was out in this drainage, this grizzly bear. This grizzly bear, my dad's there, and I'm cow calling. Okay?
And you think the elk's coming,
I think this elk's coming.
but it's not.
It's not. I see the elk go across this ridge, right? It goes across this ridge. And then I see this brown flash go down this hill in front of me. And there's a bit of a, if you look like this brown flash has to go down this ridge and then around the corner of the spine of the ridge and stay down in the valley. I know that above me is a elk carcass freshly killed yesterday. So I'm calling, I'm waiting for this big bull elk. I'm looking this way. And I turn around. I look down below me, and 100 yards below me, my dad's here, I'm here, and I turn around below me, and there's a giant bear 100 yards below me. I turn all the way around. I'm like, Dad, there's a bear. There's a bear. There's a bear. There's a bear. I have my pistol right here.
Does your
on my
dad have a
chest.
pistol?
He's not. He has a bow only. I have a pistol and bear spray.
Does your dad have bear spray?
He does not. At this point, he's not. So luckily, I'm between him and the bear. The bear goes down the drainage. I remember, as a hunter, mostly I'm worried about is this a black bear or a grizzly bear. I didn't know at the time. It was kind of shadowed in this ravine as it was going up. And I'm looking through the binoculars. I'm like, I don't know what this is. I'm not sure if it's a black or grizzly bear. Grizzly bears have a distinct hump that you're looking for that's different from a black bear. And they can be, and this black bear's sauntering down.
At the risk of making this a longer story,
Yeah.
explain why it's way more dangerous if it's a grizzly.
A black bear, you and I have experienced this in Alberta together. A black bear is not as aggressive, not as predatory. Black bear attacks are very less frequent than grizzly bear attacks. I don't know that I could explain kind of just the nature of a grizzly bear and a black bear is an omnivore in many ways. A grizzly bear is a carnivore. And in this scenario, I would be, if it was a black bear, I would be looking to shoot it rather than being afraid of it because I love black bear meat. It's delicious. And black bear fat, you've had Clay Newcomb on, you make bear grease. It's one of the best things that there is. So I guess that maybe explains the difference. And
But
then
for people, like,
Yeah.
in comparison, it's like a golden retriever versus a wolf.
pretty much, that's
It's-
a pretty good comparison.
It's a completely different animal.
I wish there was a wildlifologist to kind of really lay it out there. But
He would
in
probably say
terms of-
German Shepherd wolf.
Yeah, something
That's
like
what
that.
he probably would
That's
say.
fucker.
I'm trying to be like more comedic. But
Right.
This
Yeah.
it's a different animal.
It is, and I would say that you've seen it when we were hunting bait in Alberta.
Yeah.
When a black bear comes in, you're willing to stand your ground.
You know, we were on our way. We saw a grizzly
Yeah.
in Alberta. When we were on our way
I
to where we
remember.
were hunting,
Yeah.
looking eye to eye with a grizzly is wild.
It's a wild thing, and when a grizzly bear comes through a stand of timber or mountainside in this case, things go quiet.
And we didn't even, when I was in Alberta, the one I've seen in the wild was not that big. But the one you saw was big.
This is one of the biggest bears I've ever seen. I'm talking big hind end, just wobble.
Give me a roundabout.
I have no idea. I would guess it at the 6.5 to 7 feet. I don't know how to guess how much it weighed. This is
300, 350,
no, fucking way more than that.
450,
700, 600 pounds. We later found
700 pounds.
the track on the road where we walk in every morning to the drainage, this little 2-track dirt road where we walk in. We found this thing's track. So it is sauntering up this drainage. And there's a moment where my mind's not in the right spot. It's in the place of, is this a grizzly bear or a black bear? And now that I look back on that moment, that bear was about 2 seconds away from ripping my face off.
Oh my God.
I'm cow calling. To that bear, I'm a cow elk. And to me, I wasn't scared. I wasn't pulling for my pistol. I was watching it as a hunter might watch any game species that
Thinking an elk's going to come over the ridge.
Yeah.
And a grizzly
bear.
bear. How much How many pounds?
Maybe 700-800 pounds. I don't know. I hope I'm not wrong
Let's
about
be
that.
nice.
It's a big one.
Let's be nice and say 600. Imagine a 600-pound super predator
One swat.
running full clip towards you.
I've interviewed many people that have had their face ripped off, their testicles ripped off. I know the pure carnage that a grizzly bear like that can do, and I also know in my pack is a tourniquet and all the medical supplies a man might carry. But I'm pretty close to town. My dad's there. We have our cell phone service. We're not in the backcountry. I know at this point, when I determined it to be a grizzly bear, it's already walking up the drainage away from me. I determined it's a grizzly bear. I know then that if it turns back to us, we got a problem. But if it keeps going up the drainage, I know where it's headed. It's headed to that elk carcass that was there. And so luckily for us, it goes up the drainage. It heads over towards the elk carcass and ducks into the timber. And it's not the end of it, but that's the end of that encounter.
And you're carrying a pistol?
I have a pistol.
What caliber?
44 Magnum. A Taurus 44 Magnum Ultralight. And I have a chest holster. That's from a guy named Razco. A guy in Bozeman makes this chest holder that attaches to the bottom of the FHS.
Is this a revolver?
This is a revolver. And I have bear spray on the hip belt of my.
So you can get off
pack.
six shots?
I can get off 6 shots.
6 shots.
And I know, again, having been in the industry and talked to a lot of people that have had encounters, I know kind of how this is going to go. And likely how it goes is the only way you get out of it is you get mauled and the bear loses interest, or the person that's with you saves you in some manner, right?
Yeah.
There's a pretty famous...
But your dad doesn't have a gun.
He doesn't. He has a bow.
And you're in front.
I'm in front.
Oh,
so I'm between these two. And again, this is...
Is your pistol in... Is it... You have to open up a snap to pull it out?
No,
or is it
it's
in
fully,
Kydex or something?
It's fully in a molded holster that I can pull out and present.
Right.
Easy. It'll be double action because I don't have it cocked.
And do you have a thought when that's happening where he might run away, but if I shoot him, he might attack me?
Yeah, I mean, as
there's like a calculation, right?
Yeah, and again, as a hunter, I'm more interested in what is this thing doing? Why is it here? Than I am like I should run away.
Right.
And that is, I think, both appropriate and also probably not the best thing to be doing, man. Like you should probably be.
Can you remember what you thought? Like what went through your head when you realized it wasn't an elk, and it was a giant grizzly bear?
Finally. Yeah. Because you are in a country where you know. Dude, I've been out in June setting a trail camera and heard a wolf howl. I told you I talked to the game warden. He's like, there's bears around. And so the thing that you do is you prepare for the worst, and you really, really prepare for the worst. And I did it knowing that there's folks that I've talked to, like I said, that have had really life-changing experiences. One of them in Kodiak, a brown bear ripped off his testicles. One of them in Alaska, a brown bear, I think grizzly bear, ripped off his face. And so I know these stories. I know them all too fucking well.
There's a video of that one guy.
Yeah.
Pretty recently.
Glenn Bond.
Yeah. How many, 4 or 5 years ago, right?
It would have been back in, roughly
whatever,
that.
Give or take a few years.
Yeah.
That one is available online. It's horrendous.
Kind of, yeah. They keep pulling it offline.
They put its face back together again. Pretty good.
I have the full... I talked to that guy. I know that guy very well, and I have the full story of that. You can listen to it on the Hunting Collective. There's a podcast with Brett Bond.
Yeah, I listened to it.
It's amazing. It's a whole nother show, probably. But
it's like that's one of those conversations where like a vegan or an animal rights activist would be like, good.
Some people might say that.
Some people might say that. Like, I'm glad that fucking
and people said that
about
Brett Bond and his father Glenn.
Yeah,
who was attacked. There was a lot of people saying like, because they were hunting bears at the time, and they were hunting bears in their den on the Denali Highway in Alaska.
Yeah.
And so people were like, good, you hunt them in their den, that's what happens. And again, and that's where I come back to the emotion of finally, because so much of my hunting life in Montana has been anticipation of those encounters.
And that was the first ever?
With a bear, with a grizzly bear, yeah.
Wow.
Well, not the first ever in my life. First ever in Montana. I was once on a caribou hunt up in Northwest Territories. They helicopter you out into the middle of nowhere, and then you have I think a 12-hour delay before you can hunt once you've been helicoptered into the wilderness. I think it's 12 or 24 hours, but you have a delay before you can hunt. So you literally have to sit there and wait. And we were there at a time in August when there was no darkness. It was literally light pretty much the entire 24-hour day. And so we sat on a ridgeline, and we were glassing for caribou in the period where we couldn't hunt. And here comes this sow grizzly bear down this drainage. Every bush that she went by, whack! Every piece of moss, she just whack! Just crushed. She was upset. She's having a bad day. Whether her cub got taken or she was just in a predatory mood, I remember glassing her with a spotting scope going like, hope she doesn't come over here. And we were sitting on kind of a...
Is that normal behavior when like a cub gets eaten by a boar?
I don't know if that's normal behavior. I imagine it to be.
For folks who don't know, that happens a lot. And the females try to fight the boar off.
I imagine it to be. I imagine them to be aggressive in the times that they need to be. But I don't know enough to know if that's like every time a cub gets eaten, she goes out and whacks the shit out of the next thing she sees. I don't know that. But in this case, this sow was alone. She was not... she didn't look all that mature, but she was going down this drainage. Just everything she saw, she was hitting. And I thought, well, if she comes by me,
you're fucked.
I'm fucked.
Yeah.
And we were kind of on what we would call a glass and tit, which is kind of a raised up ridge and glassing. And she got at some point below us where we couldn't see her.
What a terrifying idea of a mad grizzly, like a road raging grizzly.
You're like, dude, oh. And then
that's
you think
what that
like,
is. It's like someone just fucking fuck you.
And where do grizzlies live,
drive.
right? The grizzlies don't live by the urgent care.
Right.
Right? They live in places where if they whack you,
you're fucked.
You're fucked unless your friend knows
if
how to...
If they break both your legs,
yeah,
you have to crawl to safety
right,
if
so,
you can.
So in the examples of Brett Bond, who we were just talking about, he saved his father. His father got his face ripped off by a grizzly bear. He comes running down the hill with his .454 Casull, shoots this bear, bang, 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 kills it. It actually... I was reading some of his accounts of the hunt. He measured 5.5 feet from his bootstrap to where the bear died when he was defending his father's life. His father had been attacked.
Oh, my God. How much did the bear weigh?
The bear is now in Glenn Bond, who's 70. He's probably in his 80s now, is in his living room. He got it mounted, full standing mount, and it's in his living room. I bet that bear weighed 800-plus pounds easy. And again, apologies for getting that wrong if that's the case. But
we got to wrap this up. But before we wrap this up,
yeah,
how does that bear story end? Is that it?
Yeah, the bear leaves and goes to eat that elk carcass.
How close were you at the closest time?
80 yards. Toward death.
How many seconds would it take for a bear to sprint at you from 80 yards?
2.
Do you think you'd have time to pull the gun?
Well, we did a whole thing with Clay Newcomb, if you look on the old Meat Eater YouTube, where we tried to figure out how quickly you could draw your bear spray or your pistol.
Not so quick.
Not so quickly.
Not so quick.
I probably would have gotten mauled. But again, that's the reality of the world in which we live, Joseph Rogan.
That's a nice thing to say if you don't get mauled. If you do get mauled, you should say, I should take up roller skating.
Yeah, if you don't get mauled, you're like, ah!
If you don't get mauled, like, I am going roller skating from here on out.
I'm going to take up crochet.
Yeah. Like, if you got mauled and you had the opportunity to not get mauled, you're like, yeah, I'm going to do something else.
I'm going to keep my face.
Episode 1108. Joe Rogan and Peter Attia recall a deadly shark attack in San Diego and discuss how great whites strike their prey.
What was going on in San Diego when that guy got bit in half by a shark a couple years back? They were training for something.
Yeah, it's funny you remember that. That was May of 2008. I remember that like it was yesterday. So at the time I lived in San Francisco. And this is actually just before I swam the Maui thing. Now that I think about it, that was 10 years ago. I swam the Maui thing in June of 08. So I'm doing all my training in a swimming pool up in San Francisco because I don't want to acclimate to very cold water. I actually want to be in warm water. But I needed one long ocean swim of like 14 or 15 miles as my like last training swim. So I came down to San Diego to do it. And just by bad luck, I came down a few days after that guy was killed. Now, this was a guy, I didn't know him, but he was a triathlete training with a triathlon group that they would go out and swim every morning. And I know the beach exactly where it happened, in Solana Beach. And unfortunately, like most people who get attacked by great whites, they always attack the same way, which is below and behind, stealth bite, up, and then they retreat. So they're trying to basically injure the prey, so their prey exsanguinates, and then they take off, and then they wait till you bleed out. So they never saw the shark, but you could tell from the bite marks it was. I actually had a friend who was on the beach and saw him when he came out, and he was basically dead when he got to shore. He had bled to death. The problem is, so in this case, the shark had bit him and cut through his femoral arteries and veins. And the salt water prevents you from having any hemostasis, so it exacerbates the blood loss. So that's generally how folks perish when they're bit
How
by
did
great
they get
whites.
him out of the water?
A bunch of other swimmers came to his rescue, and luckily that commotion prevents the sharks from wanting to come back. So 3 days later, I go out and I'm swimming at that beach because I swam from my training swim was La Jolla up to Solana Beach and back. And I got to tell you, like 3 days after a guy dies where you're swimming, it was about one of the most mentally challenging training swims to be like, because you can't see, like the water at that part of the beach is so murky, and you're only a couple hundred yards offshore that like you can barely see your hands when you're swimming. And so you're just thinking, is this the day?
Oh, dude. Yeah, I'm not interested in that.
Gee, I can't see why.
Yeah, there's just something about sharks, too. I mean, they're, to me, one of the most terrifying things. Because first of all, we're so inept in the water. I mean, even a person like you who's a great swimmer.
Yeah, we're a joke.
Yeah, what we are in comparison to what they are, it's just you're throwing yourself into the world of a super predator. And to know that one just jacked a person just a few days before and you're out there swimming around.
Yeah, although I will say this, when it's all said and done, all of the close encounters I've had, probably the scariest moment I've ever had in the water was doing a swim from Santa Rosa to Santa Barbara. So Santa Rosa Island, which is the second furthest north Channel Island. You got San Miguel, Santa Rosa, Santa Cruz, and Anacapa represent the top 4 Channel Islands. So we did this November swim. It was a nighttime thing again, swimming from Santa Rosa Island to Santa Barbara. And at about 5 in the morning, maybe 6 in the morning, you're just starting to get enough light where you can see, and you're out there, so you really have amazing visibility. And I look down probably 40 feet, and I see this enormous thing swimming like this, which is how sharks swim, and I see the dorsal fin in the position that freaks me out, and the tail's this way. All of that is shark.
Right.
And I lift up out of the water, kind of hyperventilate for a second, and I'm thinking to myself, all right, you got to make a judgment call here. If that's really a great white, you probably ought to get out of the water. But the moment you're out of the water, that's it. The swim is over. Like, you just spent like months doing this, like it's done. So then I convinced myself, and I think I'm right. I think it was a dolphin on its side, because a dolphin on its side its tail fin would be the same way, and it could swim that way. So in the end, I just kept swimming. But I mean, that scared the shit out of me.
Well, they have seen quite a few of them off the coast of Malibu. There's
there's tons. There's no question. They are way more plentiful than we realize. And all you gotta do is talk to the fishermen. Like the fishermen will tell you. They're like off Coronado. I mean, it's like there's nonstop great whites.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Why are you freaking me out, Peter?
The good news is, they see us all the time, and most of the time they realize we're not what they want.
Yeah, they want seals,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Whenever they attack us, they're making a mistake.
Now, is there a suit you can wear, like a Kevlar suit that protects you from getting bitten in half?
No, but this is so funny you bring this up. I became obsessed with this thing called the, what was it called? Christ. You'd put the thing on your ankle, like you had like a little Velcro thing, you'd wrap it on your ankle, and it had a tail, like this long, like 4 foot long thing, and it was charged. And it sends out an electrical impulse that disturbs the shit out of the sharks. The shark's nose is an organ that senses electricity. So when a shark, it could be pitch black, it could be soot water, and they can still scope you, from hundreds of yards away based on the electrical activity of your heart. And that organ is their nose. So this little thing, I forget what it was called, like the shark taser or some shit. It puts out a signal that like tases them, and they don't want to get within like.
Oh, there it is. Jamie's
what's it
got
called?
it up here. The world's first shark deterrent band. It's called the Shark Bands. Worn on the wrist or ankle. Is this it?
I don't know. I thought it had a different name, but because the one that I was going to get and did a ton of research into had a really long tail hanging off it, and that became the problem.
Uses patented magnetic technology to repel sharks. So the tail was a problem because of the drag?
No, because it sounds silly, but it would come up and zap you in the nuts.
Oh,
so you'd
Christ.
be, it's like, so it became unbearable to practice swimming in this thing because you're like, every 37 seconds you'd get zapped by the tail. And I was just like, yeah.
I like how it says reduce the risk.
Oh, yeah.
Can I get some numbers, please? So I don't want to just hear reduce. By how much? By 1%
7%.
statistically. And then it also is a leash for your surfboard too. You can use one of those to strap it to your ankle. But yeah, no.
It's going to come to me like in an hour. I'll remember what this silly thing was called.
Jamie will probably find it.
Yeah.
Off of Catalina, I know it's one of the best shark fishing places in the world. I have a friend of mine who told me that if you think about like wild places on Earth that are just overrun with predators, terrifying, like predator-prey activity, Catalina Island is one of the top spots in the world. I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, I'm telling you, man, the shark fishing off Catalina Island is fucking insane. And then I watched a television show, just, synchronicity, a couple days later, and it was these guys shark fishing off of Catalina. I was like, what in the fuck? I could have never guessed. They're catching makos mostly.
Yeah, and it's actually my recollection, because we swam around Catalina once as well. The backside is way more aggressive than the front side.
The side that faces the Pacific
The side that
rather than faces
exactly.
Los Angeles.
That's right. Yeah, there's way
That
more
makes
crazy
sense.
stuff out
Yeah,
there.
I think that's exactly where they were. Yeah, it looked pretty nuts. I mean, they were bringing in these 15-foot sharks. I mean, I was like, what in the fuck? These are just floating around out there?
Episode number 1224, Adam Greentree recalls a brutal fight with a wild boar that nearly killed him.
Well, pigs are the weirdest one because pigs, like my friend Whitney Cummings, she adopted a pig that, where'd she get that pig? I think it was from the fire, right? Yeah. And she actually wound up driving it to Texas. She drove in her car 24 hours. She's a fucking maniac when it comes to animals. I think her and her fiance drove to Texas with this fucking pig to drop it off at this pig shelter. And damn, dude, when she's with that pig, that thing is like a dog.
No, good on her. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
Might as well be my dog. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just like hanging out.
Oh, they're
and
an
super
intelligent
sweet.
animal. Yeah.
But when they get loose and they're out in the wild, boy, they fucking breed 3-4
Oh, yeah.
times a year.
Yeah.
They'll have big piles of piglets, and those piglets will they eat everything in
Yeah.
sight. They're omnivorous.
Absolutely
They're
devastating to
destructing
the ecosystem.
for everything. They're
Yeah, that's
devastating
it.
to plants and ground nesting birds, animals, everything. They
Yeah,
eat everything in front of them.
Yeah.
They're pigs.
Yeah. And I don't hate them.
No.
Like, I don't hate them. I
No.
love pigs. I think they're an unreal
Yeah.
animal. But the bigger picture is they need to be controlled. They can't go out there and just ruin our ecosystem like that.
Well, you're seeing it in Texas. Texas is probably in the United States is the biggest example of what happens or the best example of what happens when these feral hogs are just completely out of control. They just devastate these agricultural farms.
Yeah.
They have these farms and they're just getting destroyed.
Yeah.
I mean,
and
I've
it's all the
seen some of the-
wildlife, other wildlife as well, because they eat frogs and they'll eat lizards and they'll
yeah.
anything that's on the ground that's edible, they'll eat it.
Yeah.
I wrote an article years ago. It was called "Killer at the Pass." It was a place in Australia, and the property owners, like the ranchers, called me up and they said, "You need to come out and shoot some of the foxes. Like they're devastating our lambs." And I ended up going out there, and when I was driving in with the forward drive at night with the high beams on, I seen this massive big black and white boar walking between the flock of sheep with a lamb in its mouth. There was this pig and it had got a taste for meat, and it happens all the time. So a big boar, especially a mature animal, will get a taste for meat in harsher conditions, and they'll just stick to meat after that. And I ended up catching up with this pig the next morning and shot it with the bow. it actually attacked me. The first shot wasn't perfect, and it charged me, and I ended up like stabbing it to death. I was on a slope like this on the mountain,
Jesus.
and it was really a battle. And he ended up hooking the bow out of my hand, because when he charged me, I put an arrow on and shot, and just went down one side and like hit one lung, and it just infuriated this boar, and he was on me. And when I was fending him off with the bow, his tusk went into the bottom limb of the bow or the cam or something like that and ripped the bow out of my hand. And I ended up getting my knife off me, and I ended up like stabbing this pig while it was like trying to run me over.
Holy shit. How big was it?
It was a big boar. It was like big meat-eating boar like this. And
like how many pounds?
Oh, fucking big. That's how many pounds.
300?
Probably not 300.
200?
Our mountain boars just get real solid. Yeah, probably 200 or something like that. And anyway, I ended up stabbing this thing to death. And when I end up cutting it open, its whole insides, like its whole stomach, was like lamb's hocks, like the feet, the bottom of the feet where they can't swallow, and skulls, and just like little bits of wool and stuff like that.
Wow.
It'd just been going around and just picking these lambs off and killing them.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's a really known occurrence in Australia, and how that if things get harsh, they'll just because they're just absolutely ruthless. They'll just walk right between the sheep and just fucking grab a lamb, walk off of it, chew it up and eat it. But anyway, first thing in that morning that I found was a pig spew, and it was like this fucking spew like this, and it was the same. It was lamb's hocks, and it was
What's a
like
spew?
bits of vomit.
Oh.
You don't say spew in America?
Yeah, you do, but I thought maybe
Okay.
it meant something else to you.
Yeah, fucking spewing, mate.
Yeah, spew.
Yeah.
I spewed out.
Yeah, spewed out.
Yeah.
That's what happened at Disney yesterday. Fucking Walt Disney spewed all over me.
So it just threw up bones and shit?
Just threw up bones and stuff that it couldn't digest, but yeah, end up lamb killer at the park.
It's a destructive animal, and they're so ruthlessly efficient in terms of like how much food they can eat.
So a deer will walk along and it will pick, it will just pick the tops off grass, and the grass regrows. A pig will go through and eat that grass, and it will turn it over and eat the roots and everything as well. Causes a lot of erosion, and then there's no regrowth because there's no roots in the ground.
Because they're greedy pigs.
They're greedy pigs. There you go. But
they're the number one cause of death on farms?
Really?
Yeah, apparently with domestic animals, people falling into pig pens.
And just into them.
They just they just devour. And when you're dealing with these giant domestic pigs, they get fucking huge.
Massive, yeah.
Yeah, hundreds of pounds.
Yeah, in like Western New South Wales, when times get tough, which is like seems to be fucking all the time now. But they'll get so desperate. Like you'll shoot a pig, you're going through for the farmer, and you're just shooting them. You're not even really taking any meat off them, because they're like they're eating meat themselves, and they're like skin and bones and disgusting. It's more of like a cull mission, and you'll come back in the afternoon and that pig will be completely skin and bones, because the other pigs just get in there and you'll hear them. You'll just hear them just scream, and it's the most god-awful sound there is.
They cannibalize.
They cannibalize, yeah.
I was in Tejon Ranch, and we were walking by this really high grass. The grass was like 5 foot high, and we were only like maybe 10 yards away from these pigs fighting. And I said to Ranella, I said, "Now, come on, man. If you didn't know that those were pigs, if I told you there was demons in that grass, you would completely believe it."
Yeah.
It's like,
Oh yeah, going ballistic. Were you
it sounded
hunting
like
them?
something. Yeah, it sounded like
that's the
something
best
from Lord
sound
of the
when you're
Rings.
hunting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. But it sounded like Lord of the Rings. It sounded like some horrific scene in a monster movie. Yeah, it sounded like an orc.
Yeah.
It really did. I mean, it's just, how is that the same animal as those cute little things that Whitney Cummings is hanging around with?
Totally.
Because the one that she had was like all fluffy and sitting in her bed, and cute.
Loving it.
She taught her how to go outside, go
Was
to the
it a
bathroom.
pygmy pig?
No, it was a pig. That was the other thing she told me. Apparently, those little pigs are not real. All they are is just underfed.
Yeah, right. That's pretty fucking
That's
wrong.
fucked up. Like
Yeah.
when those people have those little tiny pigs, she's like, that's not real.
Yeah.
They're just, it's a baby pig. It's a tiny little pig. It's just going to stay tiny. No, if you don't feed it, it'll stay tiny.